Yeah, we find her, the beautiful girl we've been missing. We wanna have her kissing. We find her, now we in love. Say go so, the remix.
DMB, Tuck Spice, remix.
Now if I had to lose you like a bad phone connection, I'd change my game to get a better reception. Sit back, let's start this interaction. Don't fight the feelings, just a chain reaction. Your heart won't give you the wrong instructions. Like my GPS, yes I got the right direction. We gotta merge together like a road intersection. Last stop is gonna be my love and affection. I ain't like the mother dudes, they wanna call you shorty, but I'ma call you a beautiful girl. I took your picture home, my mama saw it, she's a very, very beautiful girl. I wanna put you in my video, cause you're so beautiful. You're a beautiful girl. So when you hear us in your radio, turn up your stereo. It's beautiful girl.
Gotta find a shorty, what's worth of a lady. It's nice but maybe doesn't look like 40, yeah. It's taking a little time. I wasn't seeing no signs, any traces of my baby. Who's gonna be my baby? But I thought I'm gonna take my time within to go off an eye. I saw a shorty passing by. She's got this very pretty smile. It was right at the bus station. I tried to make a conversation, holding her arms, feeling so charmed. I felt the sensation. It's been a while that I've been trying to find a beautiful girl. Now I realize I found me a beautiful girl. She's a model, she's so fine. I just wanna take it by. Beautiful girl. Sparkling eyes, a killing thigh. I found me a beautiful girl.
Body me LP, oh yeah, nah.
My wish came true when I saw you, girl. God must have blessed me with your beauty, girl. Looking so right from your head to your toe. Shaped like a cocoa bottle with a smile of a queen. My queen to be, you my destiny. Got a body of a goddess with your beauty. I'm impressed and I'm never in distress. Come on over and be mine. Been searching for a man and now all the cats keep looking to mine. With a sexy walk and a sexy talk, she must be from a planet called the sexy world. I know I ain't tripping, better yet I'm thinking put a ring on the finger. We look good together. Take your place in my heart with your beauty. I'ma say that I'll never turn away. Who would think I'm in love?
Such the way she smiles at me just really makes me weak. The way she speaks to me just really make me go so weak. Keep staring in her eyebrows. All I kept on saying is wow. Your beauty shines and breeze at night. All I really want in my life. Oh yeah. It's been a while that I've been trying to find a beautiful girl. Fine brown eyes. I found me a beautiful girl. She's my model, she's so fine. I just wanna take it. Beautiful girl. Sparkling eyes, killing thigh. I found me a beautiful girl. Yeah, beautiful girl. What beautiful girl, yeah. Beautiful girl.
Damn. Money. You seen her? Hot Ice. Have you seen her? LP. Have you seen her? I'ma go over to Tux Bites. I know you've probably seen her. He has a lot of beautiful girls with him. Tux, it's DMB, baby. Look.
Beautiful.
I look for a while, but I can't seem to find a beautiful girl so I can make her mine. Time after time I've been searching for a while, but every girl I meet never seems worthwhile. What can I do? I pray to God for an answer. I feel pains in my heart like cancer, and when I find her, I'm gonna romance her. Lace up with presents and gifts, call me Santa Claus. I make a heartbeat pause. That's my girl home
boy, not yours. The girl of my dreams, she's more than I ever thought. Show me Aston Kutcher, I think I'm getting punked. She's what I really want, so I'm a go-getter. Since I'm a go-getter, you know I'm gon' get her. And I will give her the world, anything for my beautiful girl.
Psych. Ooh, it's been a while that I've been trying to find a beautiful girl. Fine, brown eyes. I found me a beautiful girl. She's my model, she's so fine. I just wanna take it. Beautiful girl. Sparkling night, killing tight. I found a beautiful girl.
Girl, it's your love that I've been missing. I miss all your hugs, your touching and kissing. Make love on the floor, the couch in the kitchen. One love enough, we done enough.
Welcome back. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen of Prestige? How a day? How's everybody doing? My name is Ola. I am coming to you live from my Empire Pro Studios. Let's talk. It's been a minute, maybe a few days, but yes, we're live. We're literally live. Do me a favor, if you're just bumping on, let's ping everybody else into the room. Hit that like button, share, and subscribe. I'm gonna check the audio myself, make sure everything is good. All right, we're looking good. Awesome. Today's probably gonna be a short one, probably. Okay, but yes, we have some conversations to have. As usual, you might see on the thumbnail that people are following a particular trendy story. In this case, we have a YUL, a JUDY, but always trust me, there's more to it. Okay, at least trust me. Okay, there's always more to the story, more beyond the story. There's always lessons that we're going to cover here, because again, here on Men of Prestige, we basically cover relationships from a power standpoint. We talk about self, social, emotional, social intelligence, seduction and attraction. If we have time, we'll talk about marriage. But honestly, once you master those other things, it doesn't really matter. Okay. And shout out to all of you that have been watching some of the viral videos that we had more recently. I released another one yesterday. There's obvious reasons why they're going viral. You can see it on there. It's getting more reach. That's just what the algorithm is showing right now. But again, you can always trust me that I will bring this deeper lessons. If there's no lessons, I won't just follow the algorithms, okay, or algorithm or whatever. I won't just follow unless there are actual lessons. So in this case today, there are some lessons. Particularly, shout out to everybody that left a comment on those videos. Okay, the first one that we released had I think now it has about 20,000 views on it. Yep, that one has about 20,000 views. That's the one with let's see here. That's the one that says, so you are the one that will teach them. But yeah, it has exactly 20,000 views. The one I released yesterday has 5,000 views, about 41 comments. Okay, so I'm paying attention to what people are saying in there, because these are actually where the lessons are. Okay, when people talk, either they talk for or against. Hi Yvette, good to see you, Yvette. Pardon my manners, sorry. Hey Yvette, good to see you. Hit that like button, share and subscribe. Shout out to Dolores Wallace, left a message here earlier. Corinthians 7:21, Corinthians 6:9. Okay, I guess it's based off of the title. Today's title is, so you want Judy and Yul to sacrifice their love and happiness for me and you? Explain. Yeah, that's what we're talking about today. And shout out to Faith earlier, says Judy Austin does not love Yul. She wanted wealth. Okay, she wanted wealth. Yeah, back at it again. But yeah, it's no longer trendy right now, but we still got more lessons to go through, and that's what we're going to talk about it, right? So property, she wanted wealth property. She went around the Nollywood, but was able to get only the mumu who was too dumb to be trapped by her. All right. Shout out to Toby and Tribe. Shout out to Nato area. Erica says hi, watching from Trinidad and Tobago. Hello, Erica. Good to see you. Good to have you. But yes, as always, you can always trust that there are lessons here. By the way, you can go to loveandprestige.com once we're done with the show. Download the book for free. You can see my story there. That's, a lot of stuff I'm saying is coming from experience and actual results. So, and not just results, but ongoing. We're always being tested. We're in the middle of this journey together. Okay? Not to shout out to you for that message you sent earlier. I am so happy. Anytime I see that, it makes me happy. Every time I get a testimony from what we're doing here, it makes me happy. It's not just about following the trendy news. We want to be able to make impact in people's lives, their relationships. You will continue to find out that it's not about being right. It's about getting the results that you desire, right? But I'm right. I know.
Oh, you're right.
You're right. I'll never take that away from you. So yes, there's also a 30-day boot camp called the Smart Relationship Guide. I'm a little clumsy. Pardon me. I'm going to get myself together. It's been a few days. Every time it's a few days before I come back, I get a little clumsy. But I'm going to get into the mojo of things in a second. If you want to be notified by me personally when we go live, kind of like I just did a few minutes ago, join us on WhatsApp. lolaandola.com/WhatsApp. Oh, by the way, lolaandola.com/blog. We have a full-blown blog over there. We post content over there from time to time. Blogs, all that kind of stuff. Videos, okay? So check that out as well. If that link doesn't work, you can send a WhatsApp text to +1732 305 8577. So let's ping everyone else into the room. We got some few lessons to cover here today. Shout out to all 25 of you watching me live. We're doing well. Welcome. Introduce yourself. Let me know where you're plugging in from in the chat. All right. So what are we covering today? We're talking about, so you want Judy and YUL to sacrifice their love and happiness for May and YUL. Replace Judy and YUL with yourself, or with quote unquote a husband snatcher, a wife snatcher, somebody who thinks they're better. Yourself. Replace the names. Okay, those are the lessons we want to cover here today. All right. Replace the names Judy and YUL with those names, because we're here to cover those lessons. Okay? All right? That's what we're here to cover today. All right, I'll be right back. All right, Chinye Alpha, good to see you, Chinye. Good to see you again. And to be just had a fantastic show. That was good. That was good stuff. It's better to hear people's experience as opposed to nonsense generalizations everywhere, But yes, that's why I love the comment. That's why I will continue to capitalize on viral, trendy topics, because it gets people talking. Ashiriti too. It gets people talking. Once they're passionate about it, they talk, they give their opinion, they tell more on themselves. And then we'll continue to address, then we can learn from it, okay? Hey, Blessing Afoma, good to see you. All right, so let's do this. I have some comments that came from the last video. Majority of the comments, honestly, the public feel how they feel about YUL and JUDY, about husband snatchers. Okay, majority of the audience feel how they feel. It is what it is. Okay, nobody likes their stuff stolen from them, stuff or their people or their person or their relationship. Nobody. Men don't like their women stolen from them. It happens, by the way. Yes, it does. It's just that it's not necessarily a thing of pride, so they don't talk about it as much. They might even engage their coconut head and say, I don't care about him or about her anyway. Yeah, right. Tell your face that you don't care about her anyway, because there's a disconnect. There's a reason why you're roaming around the internet generalizing relationships. It's because something stung. It didn't feel good, right? And you're a normal human being. Of course it doesn't feel good. Okay? Of course it doesn't feel good, But yes, let's talk about it. Let me bring the first. This is a comment from somebody, and I thought it was an interesting comment. The person might have been trolling, but even when they're trolling, they're telling on themselves. Don't forget that. I'm just going to read and react to it. Then we're going to take the lesson further. Shout out to Chidima. She suggested that we make this a topic, this true love, happiness. The question that I asked at the end of the video I released yesterday, which is it, should you literally, is it worth it if you sacrifice the idea of conforming with social norms, societal norms, right? Conforming with those things to go after love and happiness. Gee, I think I just saw your comments. You said no, they should not sacrifice anything. They can have each other, right? That's funny. But yeah, let's talk about it. This person says you are a man like him. Whenever somebody says that, that's an attempt to shame. Okay. If somebody ever say that to you, they're obviously trying to trigger something. Okay, they're trying to get your attention. Let's be nice about it. Okay, they're trying to get your attention, but there's a chance that they're trying to shame you, right? So we have you're a man like him. Have you considered? Have you considered? That means that's what that person's trying to say. Right? I get it, Have you considered to ask why he left his ex-wife? I still think it's a good question. So let's break it apart small by small, right? I still think it's a good question. So we're talking about anybody, not just YUL, right? Not just YUL. We're talking about anybody who you heard one side of the story, and any man who basically any man who cheated on his wife, engaged in bad behavior. Clearly, everyone in the society knows that cheating is a bad behavior. It doesn't mean they won't participate if he feels right. Okay. You are a man like him. Have you considered to ask why he left his ex-wife? Okay. This is loaded. This is loaded now. Have you considered to ask why he left his ex-wife? Why he would be not just YUL. It could be any man who is bitterly because YUL has not come out to be bitter against me either, right? But any man who participated in bad behavior, cheated, impregnated their side chick, and then tried to flip it into a second wife. That's precisely what we're talking about. We have to break it down properly. Okay? Any man who tried to flip a side chick into a second wife, right? And then now the second wife is moving mad on the internet, dragging the public, giving clapbacks, ready for anybody and cursing out anybody that's on the internet who try to come against her and what she considers to be her new family now. even though it doesn't look like the family is claiming her yet. Instead of looking at what is going on in front of you, which is this man has cheated on his wife and impregnated this girl, and this girl has been flipped into a second wife, okay? Allegedly, well, he said it himself. This is my second wife, right? I think there's also claims that he's paid the bride price and stuff. In Igbo land, I don't think you can call people wife without paying the bride price, right? So if this person comes out and they say, this is my wife, oh, let's do skits together. The wife just the mood, does a para on internet and cursing everybody out that want to come against her and her newfound husband, who is still somebody else's husband. We should now ask the person, what did your wife do to you at home? Even though you use your own mouth to already tell us that she's number one. This is what you said. You said she is, that's, in this case, that will be May YUL Edochie. She's number one. Nobody can take her space. She said she don't want to do polygamy. But she said she's number one. He said she's number one. And I believe him. I believe that he cares about his first wife like that. I believe that he's attempted to do the right thing. Yes, granted, in a way that it's not working out well for him, right? Unfortunately, losing a son in the process of that. So I should now ask the person. Okay, first of all, I will need to care that much to be asking the person, okay? It's not that I don't care. If a person is not asking questions, I don't really engage them, okay? I just don't. I believe them. I believe they know what they're doing, okay? If a person is not asking questions, listen to me, including all of us here right now. Shout out to all 33 of you watching me live. If you're not asking me questions, I will have to assume that you know what you're doing, okay? If you ask me questions, it could be rhetorical question too. I don't care. I will answer if I have answer. I will say, hey, can I answer the question? Yeah, well, you know. And sometimes it's a healthy debate. If it's healthy enough, I can engage the debate too, right? But I will be clear. I need to be clear that it's a debate. It's your point against mine. We're rubbing minds together. We're arguing sometimes, right? I disagree, you disagree, me, I disagree. In this case, I actually agree with him. This is a wife of how long? 18 years, 15, 18 years. That will be beans. I have to agree. I have to believe him when he says this is numero uno. Number one, she's the best. I am sorry for dragging our family through the mud. I'm paraphrasing. He tried to apologize to me. So it's not really my position to ask him why he left his ex-wife if he hasn't claimed to leave his ex-wife. He didn't leave his ex-wife. He's trying to have his ex-wife. He's trying to have his cake and eat it too, precisely. So before we will get too far into the rest of the comment, this comment is already falling on his face. Don't worry, the writer should also remember the same question if his wife leaves him too. There is no peace for the wicked, hence the restlessness. Hello, justice for the innocent. Thank you. You're welcome. That apology was not apology is down in the Poro. Yeah, you know, that's another show entirely, right? We assessed that already. But when I'm addressing the type of apology, yes, we address that. But when it comes down to, I don't give unsolicited advice unless I'm creating content. Should make sense. Right? So this person is actively asking me to be asking jam questions. Have you considered asking why he left his ex-wife? He did not leave his ex-wife. He hasn't claimed to have left. The ex-wife is leaving him from what we've heard so far. And it's not yet an ex-wife. But let's continue. And do you know whether his marriage with May was toxic? The answer to that is I don't know. But if it was that bad, I think the ideal thing is ideal, not necessarily realistic. The ideal thing would be to leave just leave the marriage. Now, granted, easier said than done. Because you got children, you have a whole life with this person. It's not easy to just up and leave, especially when you have an out. You're always out on the road, acting, working, chilling with the Judys of this world, hanging out in their bosoms, right? Right? So there's an escape. You know, every now and then you come back with my wife. I love you, my wife. I love my kids, right? But there's an escape, right? Sounds to me from every indication that he's spending most of that time out there, right? Working as a man should. Shout out to Judy. He's always working. He went back to work. Good. Good for him. That's a good thing. Work is a blessing. Okay? I'm in the middle of one right now. Just in case you don't realize. Okay? And do you know whether his marriage was made? No, we don't know. But if it was, I think based off of the way that YUL and Judy has moved, I think they would have told on her already. With receipts. They would have been telling everybody. Like, this woman was toxic. Right? At least Judy that you are defending would have told on her. She would have at least paid a blogger or somebody to release some receipts. Don't you think? Don't you think? So with the limited information that we have, I think it's safe for me to assume that marriage was not toxic enough. Toxic, keyword, enough for him to leave first and do things the proper way, right? But hey, who am I to judge? I'm not judging. I'm just telling you what seems to have happened, especially what he's admitted to himself. And then the person goes, well, Africans, always. This person's trying to, not only were they trying to shame me as a man, it didn't work. Now that person's trying to shame Africans. Could it work? Because it will catch you by your balls every time you try to generalize. Say, well, Africans always compare their problems with others. I guarantee you this is an African saying this. Okay? And it spells inferiority complex. Okay? But let's push that to the side because the question is still valid enough. Shout out to all 48 of you watching me live. Hit that like button as you're coming in. Turn up on the like button. Turn up. We're still talking. There's more to this. There's more to the story. All right? So, Africans are always comparing their problems with others. Congratulations to us. We're just normal human beings. We're having a conversation. Shout out to Brother Ben, who was on Auntie B's platform earlier. He was trying his best to say what works for everybody is different. But let me spend the next 2 to 3 hours to tell you what worked for me. Maybe you can find it useful. And then we found out that everything that worked for him is probably going to work for you. Like things like being a leader. Not saying you're a leader, being a leader. Those are two different things. Okay? Transparency, at least a sense of transparency, right? If a woman starts to feel like you're hiding stuff, or your partner starts to feel like you're hiding stuff, you don't feel safe anymore. There's going to be chaos everywhere. It's just how life works. It doesn't matter if you're African or African American or American or Londoner. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing for human beings across the board. These things are equal across the board. Now, how somebody feels safe in this zone might be different from how this person feels safe. Obviously. But the fact that they both need to feel safe is equal, is across the board. Now, it's your response. If it was that, now I don't want to oversimplify it because you need to find out what makes this person feel safe, and then you need to find out what makes this person feel safe. If it's a woman, feel safe, secure, and love. If it's a man, yes, feel safe, but feel respected. Yes, and I'm putting my foot 10 toes down when it comes to respect in the context of romantic relationships. They're completely different. Okay? I'm not talking about dictionary meanings now. Okay? And I'm talking about emotionally speaking. What triggers him emotionally? What triggers her emotionally to want to feel safe and rest and feel safe and be vulnerable in this relationship, right? Those are the things I'm talking about. I'm not talking about what you get from your boss and your boss gave back to you and it's mutual. No, it is not mutual. It is earned. Okay? It is earned. Now, this person continues with a comment, say, everyone see May as a good wife. From most reasonable people I've been speaking to about this, they don't necessarily see May as a good wife. A lot of trolls do see that way. That's the picture that's being painted. But none of them have claimed to really know her like that. They're just going by what they can see on the surface. What's obvious? What is obvious? She hasn't said a lick of a word to bash anybody or drag anybody. That is a big deal. That's a big deal. It takes a lot to be dragged through this poro. It takes a lot for your whole family to be dragged through the mud and not say anything, and not feel the urge to come on the internet and shalaye to a bunch of strangers. It takes a lot. I think that tells us more than we need to know about May. Now, we don't know her like that, you're right. She might be a psychopath. And she's just that good. It's possible, but probably not. Because even the best of them, no matter how socially, emotionally, self-intelligent they are, at some point they break. I mean, look at it. Took one day for me predicting that Judy will break. Somebody said, she's acting, she's just looking for clout. She broke down all over the place. She's like yanni dust against the wall. It's not that easy to hold your feelings inside. That's why it's called feelings. It's chaotic. It takes over all your cognitive sense ability. Before you know it, you don't yarn dust to a bunch of strangers that really don't care. And they're like, why did I? And I thought I would speak my truth, but even then they didn't mean to drag you. They're supporting you, but when you get back home, you have to cry at night because it's not working. Yeah. So everyone sees May as a good wife, but I'm sure when our ex-husband will want to talk about what he went through in their marriage, he will be called an abusive husband. So this whole statement is an assumption. And you know what they say? Can anybody guess? What do they say about people that assume? What is the saying? What's the common saying about people that assume? I'll come back to that. Chinye said, by the way, did Gist Lover address Judy after her explosion? I don't think so. I think she detected that she's looking for clout. That part. Let's see. That speaks on her as a person. Yeah. Your actions is really all we need. Your actions is really all we need. I don't need to hear your side of the story. I can just watch your actions for the last few days and you tell me quite a lot about you. Okay? Especially if you are in the middle of a crisis. Okay? How you react to crisis tell me everything I need to know about you. Okay? Make una leave Brother Bernard alone for this matter. Leave for this matter, I know. What do people say about people that assume? When you assume, they usually say you make an ass out of you and me. But I changed it to you make an ass out of you and you. Okay? If you make an assumption, you're making an ass out of yourself. For me, or if you're interacting with me, because you're going to have to spell out what you're assuming before I will assume. Because it's very easy for me to respond with assumption or respond with sign language, respond with... you can trigger me by making assumptions. Because then I will feel the need. Like, I don't want you to lie on me. Don't lie on me. I need to tell the truth. You can trigger me like that, right? But not me, because I know better, right? And if you're listening to me, if somebody is making an assumption, have them to clarify what they're assuming about. What is the assumption here? Everyone see May as a good wife. not good wife, but she seems like a pretty solid person. Somebody who is content, somebody who is has a healthy level of self-esteem. Okay, because when you lack self-esteem and somebody is dragging your family in the mud, that's your first excuse to come and drag them back too. At least you will give the excuse that at least you might justify it by saying, I need to speak out so they don't lie against me. That's a valid reason. You can make that a valid reason to come back and speak out too. But when you have a healthy level of self-esteem, it's very hard. It's easier said than done. I have to be honest with you. That's why it seems like public is seen as a good wife. Maybe it's something you should practice. Maybe you should calm down, stop making assumptions. If somebody is triggering you, maybe not to overreact so quickly, right? Maybe people will start looking at you to like, this is a special. Because what do most people do? They overreact, right? So when you don't overreact, people see that as special. As people don't even know you like that. They start looking at you as a good person. A person, what did she say? A person of great character. They don't even know you like that. They are making assumptions now, but in a good way. This assumption is not going to hurt your reputation, right? And that's favor. You ever pay attention to the fact that that's actually favor, unmerited favor? You haven't even shown yourself to this person. Just off of watching how you respond to crisis, they made up their mind that this is a person of great character. There's power in silence. No, somebody told you were raised to think that silence means weakness. But you're probably finding out for the first, maybe not the first time, but a reminder, at least a good reminder, that there's power in silence, right? How would you like 20 million monitoring spirits speaking for you and saying, no, that person is a great character, right? Just because of the way you carry yourself in a society of people, your social intelligence, your social currency, right? Yeah. Anyway, so it says everyone see May as a good wife. Pretty accurate too, because we're not saying she's a good wife, but we see it as that. There's a real reason why we see May as a good wife. We don't know her like that. There's a real reason for that, and that's what you should be paying attention to. But I'm sure when our ex-husband wants to talk about what went through in their marriage, he will be called an abusive husband. That part is an assumption. Okay? Not only that, he's already told us his own version of what went down in the marriage. She hasn't told us. Is my English correct? She has not told us anything. In fact, you know what? I don't care if my English is correct.
Everything I do, I will.
This is contradiction. She has not told us anything. You're contradicting yourself. He's told us that this is numero uno. This is my wife of many, many years. Listen, I just want to take care of my business, and this is my side chick. She's now my second wife. She had a baby for me. I'm having a second wife. Right? So, allow me. Let the poor breathe. Oh yeah, I got that one coming, by the way. I got that one coming. Let the poor breathe.
Will you keep quiet?
A lot of assumptions here. And it's false. Because he already told us what went down in his marriage. He told us a little bit. She has not told us Shingbai. She didn't tell us anything. Abi, did I miss something? I know the alleged sister, tried to say something, but we haven't seen anything. Did she say something somewhere that I missed? Everyone sees May as a good wife. That's false because, well, it's true we see her as a good wife because of the way she's conducting herself. in public, which is the only thing that matters in life. Oh yeah, just in case you don't know, your righteousness, capability, all of that. I'm holy, I am better, I am right, all of that in the yeah, but you're still right, you know, if that's your goal. If you just want to be right, you're still right.
You're right.
Pressure Tiwa. Design, image, architectural services. Hello, good evening. I think that's Brother Ben. Is that you, Brother Ben? Let me know if that's you. I think he used some kind of company name like that. I saw some of your comments earlier. Thank you, my brother. If that's you, good to see you. And you did, if that's you, fantastic job on Auntie B's platform earlier. Omo, it's getting real. People tell on themselves. You tell on yourself when you open your mouth and you start yarning dust. You just tell on yourself, you know. And we now have to choose to believe what we believe, right? Because we have the autonomy to do that, you know. Yep. Make sure you're saying hello when you come, when you're joining us. Saying hello in the chat. Hey Chidima, I saw your comments. We're here talking about it, you know. So we're gonna be going into your comments in a little bit here. Good evening, Iggy Flores, Desert. Good evening. Oh, Patricia Black. I knew that's somebody. Patricia, you gotta use your name. Come on. Good to see you, Patricia. This person yarning dust will not say that he missed when YUL used his own mouth to say that she's a good wife. He said it. You can't make this up. You can't make this up. And was there for him when he had nothing. So there goes his answer. Assumptions, right? Jump questions, right? Telling on yourself, he's an abusive husband. No. I could see through y'all. It's not, at least not physically. Okay? He's a good guy who thought being a good guy was going to be good enough. It's not. It's never good enough. Okay? It's good for you. It's not good for the rest of your environment, your family, anything. It's only good for just you. It's not good for your family. It's not good for the society. It's not good beyond you. If you're a good guy, good for you. Good for you. Clap for yourself. I appreciate you for being a good guy. But when it comes to romantic relationships, you need more. You need more. There's an active marketplace and people can beat you at your own game, directly or indirectly. In this case, it's indirectly because if you have a wife who would just be quiet like this, we don't know her like that. But this behavior right here, you can take that to the bank and win all day long. She'll be that wife that will say, no, calm down. Why are you overreacting to that? Imagine having such a wife in your corner that you can say, hey, what do you think about this? And she'll be like, she can see from the other angle. She's like, no, babe, don't do like that. Imagine having a wife like that in your corner. Compare that to imagine having a wife who would jump on the internet and try to drag 20 million monitoring spirits that don't exist. Do the comparison in your head. Which one do you think is better? I'm just asking for a friend, you know. No, I do not think YUL is a quote-unquote what many people might consider abusive husband. No, I don't think so. Okay. Emotionally abusive, yes. Controlling, yes. Manipulative, absolutely. There's this continuous attempt to manipulate 20 million monitoring spirits, and it's not working. It's not working. Obviously, it's not working. All right. And even the supporters, you have a few supporters like this person here trying to help. They tell on themselves so quickly, so soon. And then he or she continues. Okay. There's a possibility this is a woman. Okay, there are women who also try to overthink issues that are obvious in front of them, and then they try to, and they're like, no, some things are obvious in front of you. This is a bad situation. It's not working out. Okay, it's just a bad situation. It's obvious. You can see. There's no need to overthink it. There's no extra critical thinking you need outside of emotional intelligence. Zero. Okay. The hardest part for all of us as human beings is emotional intelligence. When I move this way, how is it affecting other people emotionally? No, forget all that. The way I feel about this one topic, why do I feel that way? Why is my emotions processing it that way? That's where emotional intelligence starts from. Before you even worry about everything else outside of you, right? All right, let me see. Got a few more. Let's see. Oh, Dolores, I saw your comment earlier. Now I'm curious. I'm curious to see what is in. Thank you, Dolores. I saw your comment earlier, and I read that, but I didn't read the. Let me see if I can find it. Corinthians 7:2. Corinthians. I think we should do it. Let me see. Let me find it. First Corinthians, right? Let's do it. Corinthians 7:2. 7:2. There you go. All right, let's see what it says. Oh, I think this is pretty straightforward. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. Thank you. I appreciate you. 1 Corinthians 7:2. Okay. This is what he says. Nevertheless, to avoid fornication, that's a 2. Let me see. Let me correct that. Delabeled it. So, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband. Oh, this is supporting monogamy to the core. I see where you're going with that. Let me see. Clearly, she does not subscribe to that school of thought, and I can't judge her for that, unfortunately. But let me see the second one, 1 Corinthians 6:9. You know, I try to stay within a religious freedom zone, right? But let me see what Corinthians 6:9 said. Do you not know that the unrighteous will not inherit the kingdom of God? Do not be deceived. Neither the immoral, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor sexual let me see. Nor thieves, nor the greedy. See, I can't disagree with this. It's gonna be hard for me to disagree with this, but I just try to come from a place of religious freedom, because I believe that, listen, nature will tell you all you need to know. If you're a thief, if you steal, cheat, or lie, there are consequences for it. I think nature tells us that already by default. How? Because you don't want nobody to steal, and cheat on you, or steal, or lie to you. You don't want people to do that to you. So, do unto others, right? Not thieves, nor the greedy, nor drunkards, nor I can't disagree with you, And some would be shocked. Okay, so we'll continue the rest of the comment here. Will be called abusive husband, right? That's what we'll continue right there. Thank you so much, Dolores. Thank you for contributing your own quarter. Let's see. Hey, Henrietta. Hello. I wonder where Henrietta is plugging in from. Mary's truly madly kids. Hello. Let's see. What else am I missing? But in their mind, that's what they wanted. Made to come out and manipulate the public, which she declined. And now she's a bad wife. Wahala. And the public is the public for a reason. As a group, they're not stupid. Somebody will catch the stupidity before it goes too viral. Unless we're talking about social media, which is just, The two wives seem very different. One seemed, hey, Toby and Tribe. One seemed more thoughtful and strategic, while the other more impulsive and feisty. That's more holistic, the way you just put it. Thank you. Though this is how they come across in the public, don't really know them. We don't really know them. But how you come out, this is why we talk about social intelligence, because how you come out in public can determine if you will collect or not.
Sorry.
The public has no mercy. They don't have time to be digging through to get to know you personally. Maybe, just maybe it's a nice person. Maybe she's just feisty on the surface. Maybe she meant it well. The public has no chill when it comes to that. They don't, I'm a good person. Okay.
Different from blue. Bulaba.
I'm really just a good person. I'm not really like that. I just get angry. Listen, before they find that out, you would have collected. You collect already.
You collect wuto.
Now, if we had on the idea that when you're cool, calm, and collected, you're able to see much more clearly, just in life in general. Yoruba people sọ pé tí ojú bá farabalẹ̀ arimu, right? If you're feisty and like, I'm just blunt. I just tell you like as it is. I just want to tell the whole world the truth as soon as it comes to my brain. Yeah. Yeah.
He shock you.
Yeah. I don't know who you're kidding. This is the real world. Okay? Killer talk Oshika, even if they are the Oshika, go collect. Let's not deceive us. So it says, and some will be shocked to know. I'm continuing the comment. Okay? And some will be shocked to know what actually went wrong. You're right. We definitely gonna be.
He shock you.
Yeah, because we never know what happened in people's household. That's a fact of life. But guess what? We don't care.
Don't care. Still don't care. I don't care. I don't care.
Worst case scenario, at most we'll say allegedly. Everything that we say here is alleged. We don't know. But this is welcome to the world of media. Don't forget that. Welcome to the real world. People don't care. They don't care. They'll treat you how they feel. Not the truth or the reality. It's how they feel that matters. How you make people feel around you is all that matters. You can choose to call that's a sad thing. It is kind of sad. Sure. Knock yourself out. Okay? Knock yourself out. If it makes you feel better to say, that's kind of sad. People should just know all sides of the truth before they... Okay. I'll wait for you. Okay? Before they find out the truth, you will be prosecuted.
You can be prosecuted for that.
At least in the court of public opinions, you will end up in McDonald's.
You will end up in McDonald's.
You will sleep outside first. If you don't understand that we're human beings, we're social beings, we're emotional beings, and these things are the driving forces, ultimately, of the marketplace. Greed, fear, jealousy. That's why if you're the kind of person, I just open my mouth, I just talk because that's how I feel.
Oh my days.
Yeah, enough of that. Sorry. The fact that they are celebrities doesn't make them different from us. Fact. That makes them more responsible. They're not different, but to whom much is given, much is expected. This is the reality for you and I. When you ascend small at work, now your boss is looking at you in their face like, what happened? You're responsible for a little bit more, a couple of more people. That's how it works. Why? Because your salary is a little bit higher than everybody else. You don't get to turn around and say, well, you know, we're all human beings. After all, we're all human beings.
Will you keep quiet?
I know, we're all human beings, but to whom much is given, much is expected. And that's fair. That is fairness. Okay? The fact that they're celebrities doesn't make them different from us. We're all humans. Oh, boy, this week. We're all humans. Yes, you're right about that one. You're right. You're right.
You're right.
But there's a reason why some people collect more than others. Sometimes it's not even like you can look at it from the limited information you are exposed to or previewed to. It's not fair. It seems like it's not fair. But if you dig in deeper, if you are calm enough, if you're patient enough to dig in deeper, it will start to make better sense to you. And even if it seems unfair, you're able to tell people like, you know what? God sees all. Why don't we take some time to relax, chill, drink some water, take cool water, take a cold shower, sleep over it. Tomorrow, guaranteed, we will see a lot more clearer. Right? The fact that they're celebrities doesn't make them different from us. Actually, they are different, effectively. They're held more accountable. Society will hold them more accountable. The realities of this life will hold them more accountable. It is what it is. Okay? That's the cost of being a celebrity. You cannot look at yourself in the mirror and say there is no cost to being a celebrity. That just it doesn't make any it sounds stupid. It's just stupid. Okay, there is cost to being a celebrity in reality. When you are elevated, right? There's more people looking at you, pointing fingers at you. That's the way this world works. And all those people pointing fingers at you, they don't care.
Don't care. Don't care. Don't care. Still don't care. I don't care. I don't. I don't care.
You don't care. Okay. Let me even shock you.
He shock you.
They don't care about me either. They don't. Ultimately, they don't. Okay. They just they can relate. They can see, oh, this is sad, or but they go back and sleep like a baby in the middle of the night, including the day that unfortunately they lost a son. So all humans, we make our mistakes and deal with it ourselves. When you're a public figure, that's not how it works. You still have to deal with it yourself, but it might seem like you're not dealing with it yourself. It might be a little bit harder for you to deal with it yourself because everyone is talking about your issues. It's just the reality of how this world works. Okay. There are online abusers who enjoy insulting people, which is wrong. Okay. Is it wrong?
Oh, you're right.
Okay, it's wrong. Leave them alone. Now, this is where we go fight. Okay? Let them deal with their problems like anyone else.
You are a mumu man.
Well, sorry. That's not how that works. Okay? Nah. Especially if they are feeding it. They are feeding the beast. We call it media. They are feeding it. Listen, if they shut up now, they forget them in a few days. I promise you. Even on this platform right now. If they shut up, they'll forget them just like that. That's how it works. Okay? Very, very important to pay attention. Hit that like button. Hit that like button if you're getting value out of this. Help me turn up on the like button. Oh, let me come to the chat for a second. Why the assumption that a cheating man equals to an inadequate wife? That's an assumption too, right? Good point. Isn't that victim blaming? Well, I don't know if it's necessarily victim blaming. Victim blaming, I see that being thrown around quite a lot. So I push against that heavy too. Because sometimes people want to just continue to be victims. And we're not arguing that they were ever victims or they're still victims. But we want them to also engage what their power is. And oftentimes that conflicts with, am I being victim blamed? So it depends on case by case, right? Yeah, but you're right. There's an assumption there. But this person's post was full of assumptions anyway. I think social media helps Judy and YUL's marriage. Please elaborate. I'm missing something, Priscilla. Elaborate. Thank you. Rejoice Great Grace TV says, my joy is that our Queen May refused to be cajoled or tricked into their polygamy game. It would have been much more disastrous otherwise. I so much praise God for her determination. Okay. Iggy Flores, did I pronounce that right properly anyway? She says exactly, Chidima. She's agreeing with Chidima on there's an assumption and victim blaming. Yeah. I personally don't have enough information to call May a victim. Outside of the fact that she lost a son. Yeah. So a lot of us think we use that excuse, knowing good and well that some men indulge in bad behavior. All right. Another agreement with Chidema there from Chinye. What did Tego? Did I miss Tego? Okay, sorry, Tego. Tego Healthcare Limited says, but YUL refused to leave May. If May was bad to YUL, YUL would have completely left May and announced whatever May would have done. I agree. I always tell people that the reason why you didn't leave is there's some kind of value. Doesn't mean the value is not toxic, but there's some kind of value you are getting from staying. Right? Iggy Flores says cheating gone wrong equal first polygamy. Okay. Cheating gone wrong first polygamy. All right. Life with Natu says we don't need to hear from May because this class act she's pulling needs to be studied. Exactly. I couldn't have said that any better. Yep. Yeah. They brought it to us now. Look at Benky W and see how quick his story died. I keep telling them. But Coconut Head, they won't listen. They want to speak their truth. Let me speak my truth. Sure. But my guess is that for the most part, not always, for the most part, speaking your truth will not be enough anyway. They will use to drag you more, your truth. They will interpret it how they already made up their mind. They will interpret it how they want to interpret it. And you go circle back to the same point. So Banky W made the right move there. A little pepper them, small pepper them, and then left them, and then they forgot about it, right? And right now, a part of him will be like, they should bring out another one. Go a little bit extra viral. Yeah, yellow pawpaw. Yeah. Anyway, we can't leave them alone. We are too inverted. Listen, they're celebrities. They are literally our business. A part of this is screws. Obviously, when you come to Men of Prestige, we're extracting lessons of how not to move mad in the eyes of the public. Okay? Because you just collect for no reason. And nobody will apologize to you because there's no person to apologize for you. Tego says, YUL repeatedly praised his wife. Have we forgotten that during May's birthday last year? Exactly. During our outreach in Lagos, where YUL even said, what God has joined together. This is why I love you guys. You guys will remind me. Right? Let no man put asunder. I know you are asking me not to believe what he said with his own mouth. He said these things with his own mouth. Right? I have to believe him. Right? It's just it's the nicest thing I could. It's the least I could do. Believe what he said with his own mouth. But when you can relate from the other side of the story, then you start the yard dust. You want to create a narrative that was never there. Everybody sees me as a bad wife. Says who? Nobody said that. Or as a good wife. Nobody said that. It's just like Natu said, this class act must be studied. How did she do it? How did she do it? You know? Yeah. Let's see. Hey, Aisha Kanu, hello. YUL wants Dolores says, YUL, Dolores, where are you calling in from, by the way? Where are you hitting us from? I want to know. YUL wants this ice cream. Oh, I think I know who Miss Dolores Wallace is. I have an idea. Were you on Auntie B's platform some few shows ago? YUL wants his ice cream and cake all in one. Most of the time, when a man moves the way that YUL is moving, sex is involved. Judy probably swinging from here. He lost his mind. He's lost his mind. See, listen. That would do it, okay? Ladies, that would do it. I'm not asking you to swing from chandelier. I'm just saying that would do it, you know? There has to be some kind of void there. The void doesn't have to be your fault. He's still responsible for himself. How he communicates, communicates his needs within the context of a romantic relationship. That's still his responsibilities, you know. The truth tell us. Their truth. Come and tell their truth. The truth tell us. Wahala. Tego says it's a big deal to handle things maturely. She couldn't have been acting. No. Yeah, people try to pull that off with me. Just like they tried to act like they were acting in those skits. Yeah. You know, to me that was obvious. I see that there was some acting to it.
Stop the cap.
But yeah, human beings are not, you know, do you know what it takes to act? To actually be an actor like him? Have you been on a set before? That's not the easiest thing to do. People are terrible at acting. They tell on themselves with their actions. All you have to do is pay attention beyond their words. No, I don't think she's acting. But I think somebody helped, because for a typical human being to maintain cool like that, it's easier said than done. It's a very difficult thing, especially when your family is being dragged, your children, you lost a child in the midst of the drama. That has to be a very difficult thing to do. Okay? All right? And for people that can relate with justifying the BS that YUL is doing, it's easy for them to not see what we're saying because they can relate. It's really who they are as a person. That's why. So they're not necessarily acting too. I know it's not critical thinking. There's something that's making them relate with that side of the conversation. If May was acting, she would have given it away by now. Facts. That is just May's character, Iggy Flores says, because for more than a year, right? Some people can't even go overnight. They have to talk about it tonight. Like right now, what upset me, I have to talk about it tonight. My parents told me not to go to bed, sleep. I must talk about it right now tonight. Right? Some people can't even sleep over a simple issue. We talk about a whole year. Come on. Whatever, even if it's juju, it needs to be studied. Okay? Her true colors would have been shown by now. Yep, I agree. Priscilla says Judy's nightmare is that he will leave her. Judy may be scared. Whatever they have going on, it's not gonna last much. It's too much external forces, monitoring spirits. It's too much. Most human beings will not be able to sustain whatever they have going on. They will face each other eventually. It will implode. Okay. I hate to say it that way, but they don't really have anything anyway outside of like Dolores said. It looked like all they have is maybe chandelier and those watermelons. That would do it. Julian, hello Julian, says May and her children are Judy's karma. Yes, too much forces there. He is going to, his equilibrium is those children and May. Even if May moves on, he will continue to need some kind of friendship, a relationship. You could tell with the way he spoke about her too, right? He's not necessarily in love with her, but he needs her. He needs her. And that's always going to be something that you will see come up over and over again for years to come. You will see that coming up year. If you understand how human beings operate, you will see that coming years to years. All right, so let me do this, okay? I'm going to drop the link one more time, just in case you want to come in and chime in. Drop the link. I will have to end on time today, just so you know. But let me go to the comment that my sister here left. Chidima at Chidima Adaize 8189. She said, Ola, the question you asked at the end was deep. You rephrased it each time you asked, but highlighted 3 things. I did rephrase it a few times. All right. What was the question itself? Let me see if I can find that question again. I think I can find it somewhere. Let's see. Let's see. Comment. Let's see. Okay, I found it. Here was the question that I asked that she's talking about. Let me just put it on the screen. And then I'll go back to her comments. Here is the question. In light of YUL's actions involving both May and Judy, does true love have any boundaries? Or can it justify breaking social norms? What is social norms? Well, social norms is another way of saying society standards, conform to society standards. You see a lot of people make themselves feel good and say, hey, I don't conform to society standards. You know, I don't do that. I do me. I just want to do me.
You be mumu.
We all do. And while it's not, you don't have to conform to everything, you better know what you're doing. Because if you're swimming against the trend, you might just drown.
You think so you're wise?
You might just drown yourself. Okay, there's a reason why societal norms are what they are, you know. There's a reason why they are. And usually you can't see all the way through. But, you know, you're getting caught up in your feelings. You want to do things how you want to do it. You're in love with the watermelons. Screw what people think. Let me just do me. Yeah. Does true love have any boundaries, or can it justify breaking social norms in pursuit of personal happiness? You know, there was a quote that one guy brought to, was it Instablog Nigeria the other time? And it was like, don't let somebody's wife stop you from finding the love of your life. Something like that. I'm paraphrasing. You know, the love of your life is somebody's husband right now. Don't let that person's wife stop you from engaging the love of your life. I'm paraphrasing. I forgot exactly how it was said. Something like that. Yeah. That's what that person said. So that's the question that Chidima is talking about. I want to talk about that. I want to hear what you have to say about that as well. But let me get back to her comment. She said, Ola, the question you asked at the end was deep. You rephrased it each time you asked, but highlighted 3 things. Where are the 3 things? Interesting. I think I missed it. I got to find it. Yeah, let me find the 3 things. three things. I think it was true love, something. But let me not guess. Let me just find it. Because I know Chidima is in the chat. I don't want to misquote what she said. Okay. I think I found it. Yeah. Oh. Let's see. All right. So she said, number one, true love. Number two, traditional, conventional relationships, social norms, societal expectations. That's true. Number three, personal happiness without boundaries. Let's just all para around the internet as long as I'm happy. Right? That's where the thumbnail came from. I'm happy. Who cares? I'm happy, right? Another one says, my happiness first. Ladies, you know you're notorious for this these days. My happiness first. And this is a conversation we need to have. We need to have this conversation because listen. Oh deep. Oh deep. Like, we need to talk about it. You know, obviously it varies from people to people. And it varies from cases by cases, right? She said, I think we need to dig deeper. And then she goes on to say, but in my opinion, I don't think one can experience true love if they prioritize their own happiness. But if they prioritize true love, happiness can result. But wait, Seth, what is true love? She left an open window there. I see what you're doing, Chidima. I see what you're doing. I can see through you. She said, wait, Seth, no. What is true love? So let's unpack that, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk. Julian says, bone don't hang for Judy in neck. She has dated married men until when it was used time. The whole world got to be involved in it. It's now a global crisis. Wahala. Global crisis.
Wala, Nigeria don't report to Atiko's our call. Wala.
Wait, is it that deep? Jesus Christ. Patricia says, I think May was so shell-shocked and couldn't believe it. Your first love, someone you walked with for 18 years. We are so accustomed to shouting and screaming that her behavior looks wild to us. Listen, actually, when they first announced it, she actually overreacted. You remember that comment where she said, God, did she say God will judge both of you? Something like that. God will judge, right? Right? I stand corrected because I think I said on one of the few shows ago that God will punish. No, she said God will judge both of you. That was an overreaction. It's like a shock. She said it really quickly, and then since then she hasn't said anything outside of making well-written public statements. Say, hey, you know, this is what we're doing. I think one time she might have. No, I think it was you that said she should rest. Zukwanuike, right? She said, "May God judge both of you." That was her being a human being like the rest of us. For those of you to think, oh, she's just so perfect. She's probably like, no, she was being a human being in that moment in time. And she probably caught herself, spoke to a wise counsel and was like, you know what? Don't do it. Don't do it. Relax. Okay? Ojo Rombo. The day of talking is coming. Right? Usually, you don't have to be the one to do it for yourself. Okay? I mean, how would you rather do it? You have 20 million monitoring speaking for you, or you rather speak for yourself? Which one do you think is better or feels better? Which one do you think feels better? I'm asking. It's a dumb question, but I'm asking. Okay? The last 5 minutes of that show, yes, on the last 5 minutes of yesterday's video, design image, I disagree. I want to believe that they have been having issues and the marriage was not in a good state, and Judy took advantage of that. Yes, there was a void. That's a fact. there was some kind of void. Is when I say a void, it's not necessarily anybody's fault, but there was a void. Like it's as simple as that. So you might want to assume, or not assume, you might want to speculate that it was you who opened those opportunities, but like the bottom line is that there was an opening for Judy to come inside. That's how it works. I remember that fool talking from a car like Derek Jackson. Who was talking from a car? Was it YUL? When he says Zukwaneke, right? I haven't seen that video. Did I miss that video? YUL sowing his wild oats with Judy. No love. Yeah, there's no way. There's no room for love in what they have going on. It's literally impossible. Okay, if we're talking about true love. Okay, what Judy has going on with YUL, there's no room for true love in it. Okay, infatuation, in love, which is short term, right? Affection is basically the actions of in love. You know, the chandelier, all of that. They might have that going on. But true love, you know, if you're going to call something true love, it has to withstand the test of time, right? It has to go through pressure and come out on the other side. Right? It's not true love. If it has never been through any kind of pressure before, it's not true love, you know. Hey Madro, what's going on, Madro? Good to see you, man. That's just it. We don't know. Everyone have issues, and you could say a long distance marriage could have some sort of problems. Only they know the real deal at the end of the day. That's a fact. I think you guys are saying the same thing essentially. She said, "May God judge both of you." She didn't just say it. She came on right under that video of him announcing that he has a second wife and a newborn baby. She came under the first wife. May came under and said, "May God judge both of you." She was being human, okay. And that was a good moment that we can look at and say, no, she's not just being superficial. No, she's a human being, but she has good counsel, people that she can cry to, and people can cry on their shoulder and run to and say, "This is how I feel today." They're like, I know, I got you. A support system. Human beings in general, they can't handle this. They can't do this without support system. It's easier said than done. Iggy Flores says, "I think Juju hoped for so long you would have left May for her. Since it didn't happen, then she walked on him with pregnancy." I like that you said, "I think." Have you seen she's overpowering the man now? Thanks God May said no. I feel you, Iggy Flores. I feel you here. It must have been so painful, chai. Even thinking of your happiness, Aisha says, you still have to think about people around you. There's no such thing as true happiness where other people are not involved. You know, so you have the woke generation, they just want to be happy all by themselves. I'm generalizing, of course. But that's literally an oxymoron. True joy is a function of other people around you, a network, like a network of close knit people that's giving you that sense of overall holistic happiness. The idea that you're just happy and screw everybody else, that's an oxymoron. At best, it's temporary. Okay, at some point you're going to have more questions. It's going to feel empty at some point. Feelings is going to feel empty at some point. If you're a normal human being like the rest of us, if you're a psychopath, I don't know. That's a different topic entirely, you know, and I don't want to worry about that right now. I'm talking to us normal human beings, because some of you are listening to psychopaths on internet saying, just focus on your own happiness, and you're taking that, and your case does not require just your own happiness. Your case is a case of you're a selfish person. Your own particular case is that you're a selfish person, and then you need a person around you to hold you accountable and say you are being selfish. But you are listening to a figurehead on the internet saying just focus on your own happiness. and they don't even know your story. And you can't see your own nose because it's your nose, right? There are selfish people. Selfish people should not be talking about self-love. Stop. Okay? They exist. Now, majority of you need self-love, okay? But there's a lot of people that are just selfish, and they should not be talking about self-love. They have overdose of self-love. They need to slow down and say, why am I not happy even though I'm selfish? Oh, because I'm full of myself. Oh, right. But the point I'm making is that in this case by case. Now, self-preservation, self-love, self-esteem overall, okay? Because even at that, again, we need to unpack it. Depends on what is going on. What is your particular story, right? So that's a good point, Aisha. Ola, you need Igbo lessons. The way you pronounce Zukwanike, I know. I need it. I know. But since I don't leave me to this, I know calling, so. But I know you guys are getting value, so I'm happy if you are getting value. May carry herself as a classy woman, Dolores says, who hides her pain with her smile for herself and her children. Judy is there for the fame and support, and a woman will have a baby for that man to clinch the deal. You know it. Especially a woman like Judy will do it. It's obvious at this point, But hey, Chinya says, the one advising people that while you're married, the woman outside can be your true love. What did I miss? This is a very long sentence. Chinya, break it down for me now. The one advising people that while you are married, the woman outside can be your true love. Speak it in Igbo. Yeah, maybe I can get it. I'm missing something there. Help me. People just love to absolve poorly behaved men of responsibility. Why do they find it easy to blame the woman? I miss something, Marriott. What are you referring to? I miss something. Okay. I missed something. I think you're referring to something else that I missed. Okay. We're all responsible. Most men are so responsible, they are confused. And then they will come back home and perform bad behavior just because they're actually overly responsible, and they don't realize that they actually deserve soft life too. They're overcompensating when they can actually use the forces of nature in their favor. Right? So see the other angle I came in from. So there's something you are saying that I missed. I need you to tell me more, Marriott. I missed it, and good to see you, by the way. Chindima said, please ask them. All of you, help me out. I'm missing something. Poorly behaved men are being absolved of responsibility here. What responsibility are we talking about exactly? Can we be a little bit more specific, right? Let's talk about that. That's a good conversation to have. Why do they find it easy to blame women? There are specific men, types of men that find it easier to blame women. It speaks more about them. I'm generalizing because you generalize with the comment. It speaks more about them, but I will be more interested in knowing the specific, right? Good to see you, sis. Women don't suffer for this life. You see them. Beauty. Selfish people. Yeah. My foot is always on their necks. Everyday woman. I disagreed. YUL just had a lot of time in his hands, always at the location. Right? That's a real thing. Is this what you meant, Marriott, by relieving him of responsibility? What's the word you use? Let me see if I can find it again. Absolving him of responsibility. Is ABJ absolving him of responsibility when he says YUL just had a lot of time in his hands, always at the location? Genuine reason to be away from his family due to the nature of his job, and Judy was intentional, used gimmick to enter, right? And when you say always blaming women, and you talk about Judy, I'm wondering if you're talking about Judy, Press it harder. Thank you, my good sis. Toby says, do you think YUL and Judy are better suited? No, they don't belong together. It's not gonna last. No, if they stay together, they will punish each other literally. It work. Short term, yes, they are having a ball right now. It's beautiful, right? Some people might even say, or more. Their characters seem to be more similar. Well, even more so why they don't belong together, right? Both seem playful and talkative. Yeah, you usually need the other person to be the opposite of that to make it work, okay? Usually, not always. But when they're loud like this about it, it's not good for long term. Somebody's gonna get tired of it. The question is that who's gonna get tired of it first, right? I guess you're right. It could also be just lost as their union is still young. Wait, they don't have a union. Do they have a union? Am I missing some? Okay, they do according to Igbo tribe. He already paid the bride price, right? So I guess you can say they do, but yeah, I guess we can say that. This man of prestige. I have to believe him and acknowledge that, you know. I disagree with the saying that there is void. Tell me more, ABJ. YUL took advantage of a gentle May who trusted him with everything. Oh, somebody help us out with what it means to be void. Somebody help us out in the chat. What does it mean? What does it mean to you, ABJ? You help me out. What does it mean to you when somebody says there is a void? What did that mean? How did you interpret that? That would be interesting to see how you interpreted that. What is a void? I'm going to start that, come back to it. In fact, let me go back to the original point of. I'm loving this. You guys are so engaged. Beautiful. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, there you go. Found it. Boom. All right. So, yeah. What do you mean? How do you interpret this avoid? I'm curious. A lot of people focus more on, polygamy is our culture, and not that these men are proud adulterers. Well, most of the polygamy that your parents might grew up in, you know, that your grandfather that had 4, 5, 6 wives, most of them were initiated by adultery. Okay, adultery, cheating, stealing, lying, they're all wrong, right? They're all wrong. End of the show. But I'm guessing there's still more to it, and that's what we're talking about, right? We're talking about the rest of the more to it, right? So watch that. Let me repeat that. Adultery, right, or anything that looks like cheating, meaning a betrayer, meaning you agreed to something else, but you're doing something else behind them. That's cheating, right? Stealing, you're taking something that belongs to somebody else, right? Or lying, meaning you are intentionally being deceptive to another human being, right? Like you know that you're telling them a lie, right? Those things are always wrong. The whole world knows this. No matter what culture or religion you go to, the whole world knows this. Right? But yet we're struggling as a society, right? There must be more to the story. That's what we come here to Men of Prestige to talk about. Those other extras to it, right? That's why I always tell you when you come here that you're right.
Well, you're right.
But let's have the rest of the conversation, right? So I'm with you on that, you know. Majority of what you know as polygamy started as adultery. On paper, ideally, you just come to your wife and say, babe, it's time to take on another wife. We see that on TV with sister wives, right? But that's not how it works in real life, okay? Now, there might be unwritten rules. You know that we are Muslims, so I'm allowed up to 4 wives. But that doesn't mean that she's hoping that one day you will come home with second wife. Generally speaking, nobody wants to share, okay? Generally speaking, okay? I guess it's a man's world, Priscilla says. It is a man's world in so many respects, but I'm not sure how that's relevant to what we're saying right now. It's infatuation. Yes. If you're talking about the lost part, that's what they have going on right now. The environment is not conducive for real love, okay, which is obviously that needs time too. So we can't tell right now yet, you know. But I can look at what they're doing and say this doesn't look well. Okay. Everybody tag this. Still a man's channel. Chidima. Now won't drag me today, eh? Now just won't drag me. Eh? Okay, it's all good. I'm here with you. They are going to blame each other for their failure. Yeah, they're going to face each other eventually. And it's going to be probably Judy first that will start facing, because YUL is working for the most part, right? It's going to come home one day and it's going to be like, damn, whatever it is that we're enjoying, Otisha, is over, right? But hey, yeah, and he has more social currency and status, so he's probably going to get tired of switching at some point, you know. Or some people will consider he woke up, he came out of the bottle, right? Let's see. There are comments focusing on Judy using gimmick to enter. Judy took advantage. Oh, okay, that part falls into the stereotype of women scheming on a poor man. Okay, thank you, Marriott. Now I have better clarity of what you're saying. He didn't scheme or take advantage to enter her. So from all the, like I just said, social currency, social status, Judy has the clout. YUL has the clout, right? So I'm not surprised that a bunch of women, not even men this time, right? A bunch of women, they're calling cap.
Stop the cap.
They're saying she schemed, she knew what she was doing. I'm not surprised. Now, I don't necessarily think so. I think it's more so of there was a void. Okay? There was a void. Void does not mean loopholes. Void does not mean loophole. Can somebody else help us with this? Void does not mean loophole. Void has to mean something else. I promise. I promise you it has to mean something else. ABJ, there is no relationship between loopholes and void and a void. I can't think of one. A void, a loophole. Loophole is more of an intentional act or intentional opportunity for a human being to take. A void is a void. Somebody help me. It's not a loophole, okay? All right. Now, a void can be used as a loophole, but a loophole cannot be used. I'm trying to think it through properly. A loophole cannot be used as a void. A void is just is. A loophole can be made. Anything can become a loophole. A void is just is. Did I say that correctly? More pressure to
everything I do, I will. Pressure to what?
ABJ, don't do me like this. Why are you doing me like this now? But it's not loopholes. They might be related, but they're not the same thing. There's a reason why I asked you that question, because when you say that you disagree with void, I wanted to know what you interpreted as void before I even worry about that. Very, very important. Of course, YUL is responsible for his actions. Still, we don't know what he promised Judy from the start. Thank you, Iggy Flores. We've had about 5, 6, 7, 8 shows around these people. So I guarantee you somewhere I've said that this man is responsible for, even when it's not his fault, he's still responsible. That's actually the reality of life for men. Okay? Even when it's not their fault, they're still responsible. Okay? Now, there are ways I can argue it's true for women as well, but it's kind of different, you know. But I'm telling you, in this society, when it comes to tangibles, a man is held accountable all the time, regardless if he admits it's his fault or not. It doesn't matter. It actually doesn't matter, and nobody cares. Okay? And that's just the reality. Okay? So you're right about that, Iggy Flores. Thank you so much for adjusting us small there. I interpret it like, as for me, I'm living with my husband and I trust him and I don't check him too much. I don't cheat. or do anything out of marriage, so I expect my husband to do. Oh, so yeah, that's the wrong interpretation. That's why, again, I needed clarification. That's not what void means, okay? Just because you feel safe, you feel secure, that you're not checking around for stuff, does not mean there's a void. That's not what void is, okay? In fact, you feel like that, you can feel like that because there's no gaps anywhere. You're feeling safe because let's give him that credit. He's doing a good job at making you feel safe, right? Or you might say, no, I just decided to yara in brain at some point. I decided to borrow myself some brain and not come and buy myself, right? You can say that too, then you get to take credit for that, right? But a void is not necessarily anybody's fault, right? In fact, if I have to make it a void, if I have to make it somebody's fault, it's himself's fault. Okay, that's why I tell men, don't count on righteousness, because that will create a void. Don't count on your own righteousness. You need to set up systems around yourself. You need to be surrounded by the right people, because you are an average of the closest 5 people around you. The people around you, for the most, you're an average of them. The way they think is how you think, right? And if you surround yourself with the wrong type of people, no matter how macho you are or how righteous you are, that becomes a void. Okay, that void can become effectively a loophole, but they're still not the same thing. Okay, it was a void that became a loophole at the point where you're taking advantage of it. Then you can say it's a loophole you can take advantage of. But a void can be there and you don't have to take advantage of it, right? But it's basically when Yoruba people say "Togi Yoruba lanu," that means if the wall does not open, if there's no crack in the wall, there's nowhere for lizard to enter. That crack is what we call the void. There's an angle for a Judy to enter. Okay, if there was no void, a Judy cannot enter. Strange woman cannot enter a place where there's no crack. Now, the conversation about whose fault is it is another conversation entirely. Okay, but what I'll tell you right now is that if you fell on a bola by mistake, that is always your fault. But we can still say there was a void. Okay. And some people can also, just like you, misinterpret and say you're trying to blame me by calling me there's a void. No, we're not trying to say that. In fact, we're not having that conversation with you because you've made up your mind that it is that person's fault. We're talking to the person that have questions. They're looking for some kind of closure. What happened? Where did I miss it? Then I'll tell them it's not necessarily your fault, but there was a void. Some people call it compatibility. It just wasn't a fit. You just didn't belong together for a lifetime. And some people are obsessed with it must be somebody's fault. I must blame somebody for it. And they won't have peace of mind unless they blame somebody for it. Well, it's a rat race. They will never have peace if that's what they're looking for. Because a lot of times, there's no actual answers. You know, even after we blame that person, you're still not satisfied. So it's like Chidima said earlier, let's dig deeper. I guess we're digging deeper now. All right, so good point, Aisha. Chidima says, Ola, you have been repeating there was a void in May and Yul's marriage. Yes, that seems to absolve Yul of responsibility and blame May. Maybe you explain what you mean by void. Look, you're thinking ahead of me, right? Yeah, I have been repeating that if there's no void, a marriage cannot break up. Another way that Brother Ernest said it earlier is that a good marriage it's not like you won't have crisis. They will get through all crises. They will get through all those crises. Now, we can look at that statement and say, are you trying to say my marriage wasn't good? Well, at least you can agree to it wasn't good enough, keyword, to sustain whatever it is we're complaining about. It's just being able to look inward and say, hey, maybe I could improve myself. There's always room for improvement. Well, what do I get? What do I stand to lose when I improve myself? Nothing, literally. At least I improve myself for me, right? It's difficult, easier said than done, because your mind is always going back to, why am I blaming or shaming myself for something that someone else did? That is a disconnect from the results you're looking for. It could be my fault as your coach. Maybe I didn't ask you, what are you looking for exactly? What are you looking to accomplish? Because if there's a disconnect, it makes sense that you're thinking somebody else is being absorbed. Because if I'm working with you to get the result you're looking for, I need to identify the result first. Which is why if I make that mistake ever, I'll go back and say, hey, what are we looking to accomplish here exactly? Right? So when I say void, back to void. When I say void, void means a vacuum, right? Inside of our marriage, there cannot be a vacuum. Something will fill it. If there's a vacuum, I call it void. Something or someone, some kind of activity will fill it. Because there cannot be a vacuum. Okay? We're not in outer space. This is the real world. There's an active marketplace. It doesn't have to be your fault. If you're not good enough, quote unquote, for the open marketplace that you find yourself, somebody will snatch your wife. That's what you will call it. Actually, you can't really snatch a human being. There's some void. It's not necessarily your fault, but it didn't work out. Something happened, maybe nothing happened, but there is a void. There's a vacuum, and you can't have a vacuum. You can't have a space where there's nothing there. It must be filled. It is never your fault if you're not the person that we're talking about. It is never your fault. As a matter of fact, I would disengage from the idea of fault, blame, right? Because what do we talk about here? We talk about seduction, right? Seduction and attraction. You cannot afford shaming or anything remotely close to it. You cannot afford insult. If you have to resort to insult, clearly whatever you're talking about is not working for you. Now you've resorted to insults. You can't afford to dwell on blame and fault. Look at the screen. Those are the 10 poisons right there. Yeah, but I don't care about this marriage. I'm moving on. But that energy is going to follow you everywhere you go. It will follow you everywhere you go. Judgment, justification. It must be right or wrong, black or white. There's too many variables. By default, you are probably wrong. Or you come to man of prestige, I'll give you what you're looking for. It seems like what you're looking for is to be right.
Well, you're right.
Right? I'll never take that away from you if you've made up your mind. Discrete logic, black or white, 1 and 0. Some of you are engineers and you don't know how to turn it off. You're looking for things to be exact science. It is still exact science, but because you're a human being, you're looking at things with your own lens. You're looking at things with your own filters, your experiences, right? So it's still exact science, but there's distortion. You can't see what you can't see. It is what it is, right? There's no right and wrong in anything I'm saying. Just food for thought. Things for you to think about. Just things for you to think about as we're going through some of these conversations. Okay? So void, let me go back to Chidima. Says, Yul's responsibility is his household, keeping his household together. It's not working. It's not my judgment that will help him right now. Konnichiwa. Meaningless. What I can do is have a conversation with you to have better understanding of how life works. Okay? Mara says I'm a troublemaker. Marriott. No, I didn't think it absorbs you. Yeah, there's nothing you self. Listen, do I need to spell this out for you?
Sorry.
Listen, you Colette. Don't worry. You worry yourself too much. Don't do that yourself. Chinya says void is something missing. Yes, something is missing for that person. Okay, this is the conversation of no one should be stealing. Because I was never trained to steal. Even though you live in Nigeria where 200 million, about 60% of them are youth without jobs. They should still not be stealing. Okay. All right. You're right.
Well, you're right.
they will steal. Directly or indirectly, they will steal, cheat, and lie. Are they wrong for stealing? Yes! Will they still steal? Yes! Okay? They will still steal. That's just the way it works. If you don't want people to perform or participate in bad behavior as a government, you have to create the environment for it. At least you know you've done your own part. Now, if they still steal, you build prison yards for them. You put them back there. Shout out to Brother Ernest. You build prisons for them. You put them. There's consequences for bad behavior. That is still the fact of life. That's how it works. But if all 60% of your youth are stealing, you can't put all of them behind bars if you don't create the systems, make the environment conducive for them. You don't turn around and say, but it's still their fault. All of them cannot be in jail. You won't have a society. So let's take that back to marriage. There's always room for improvement. You as a wife, you found out that your marriage has been broken apart. Your husband has been cheating out of town. Number one, he's wrong. Number two, do you want this marriage? If you want that marriage, you better ask more questions. Beyond, was I just wrong? No, nobody's asking you to be wrong. But what happened? What happened? Is there some kind of void? Just a question. Is there some kind of void? Doesn't mean, was that my fault? I understand you as a typical woman. That means to you, it has to be my fault. No, nobody said that. Nobody said that. It will never be your fault. Because you are not the one who fell into watermelons. It will never be your fault. But if you stay in that situation to punish yourselves and you don't ask these questions, now it's starting to become your fault. Because your children self in that situation, they will see what they're not supposed to see, and you, your children, and your husband will collect.
Sorry, yo.
Just letting you know, this is just a reality. I don't mean to blame you or make you feel like you're being blamed. Or listen, all that angle of blaming, everybody else will do that. It is that to be this person's fault. Listen, we know who is wrong. Whoever cheated, stole, or lied was wrong. But there's more to the conversation. That's why Allah needs to explain void. He just said it again. That's why we're here. Even if I don't explain them today, we'll come back here tomorrow to continue to explain them. I'm here with you all. Let me see here. Bikibu Agbara Bikibu all right. Becky Bu Agbara convert translation. Is that when I told you to speak Igbo? Don't do that to me. Come on. Hey, Just Jay, good to see you. Toby and Try, void. Do you mean a void in May or you? There was a void in that marriage, in that relationship dynamic. It was filled by Judy. If there was no void, Judy, we have no vacuum to come and occupy. An emptiness. Something wasn't being fulfilled. Yes, it could be all of that. There's only one word I can sum it down to. There was a void. Just keep in mind that void does not exonerate that person of accountability. Fab Story says loophole avoids accountability. Yeah, maybe. Void is just is. You can't blame void for anything. You can only say, oh, there was a void. You can learn from it, right? And you can learn from it, not in the way that you now, because that can become pressure on you, right? And you now say, let me be looking for void. No, no, okay? You shouldn't be looking for void to the point that you're losing yourself and you're now actively looking to fill void. It's not sustainable. You cannot do it anyway. You will hurt yourself in that process. But you can use it to understand, right? You can use it to have better discernment around the dynamics of your relationship. You can use it to have better empathy and say, babe, what's going on? As opposed to, no, it's supposed to be your job. You're a man. You're supposed to just be a man. Instead of going that angle, you are open to, you have a little bit better grace when you understand these things, right? Yeah. Void. Let's say ABJ says void. Maybe one of them was doing something wrong, contrary to the norm of a good relationship. I don't know. That part we don't know, right? We don't know. We just know that that marriage wasn't anything close to a perfect marriage. That it couldn't be if the man was busy, was spending a lot of time in extracurricular activities. There's no way that could be a good marriage. See how that's not necessarily May's fault? Exactly. It's not necessarily May's fault. The only thing that we know is Yu's fault is trying to flip a side chick into a second wife. It doesn't work when you are a public figure that is well known, well loved. People love YUL. So they are expecting a little bit more from him. They don't want him to make these kind of stupid mistakes. That's unrealistic expectations on yours part, on you all's part, because he's a human being. But this one is a little extra, but it is what it is. Did they acknowledge it or just cope? A busy actor or a busy mom with school-age children will have a void. Yeah, not that type of void. There's always, now that can be a loophole. We can see it's coming together. That could be a loophole. You can use that when you can use it as an excuse of participating in bad behavior. You're like, oh, this angle right here, let me go and participate in bad behavior, right? Now that could be a loophole, right? A void needs a Judy. Let me be clear. A void, I know you don't want to hear this. A void needs a Judy. Okay. No, a Judy is the other way around, because that seems like it's not holding him accountable. A Judy needs a void. Anyway, process it. You correct me how you want, but you get the gist I'm coming at, right? A Judy will need a void to come into your marriage. The void could be your reckless husband. You're right. He's reckless. But a Judy needs a void. Just because we are busy, people will take kids to school or travel. It's not enough. If that's all it is, Judy will have a hard time coming in, because Judy needs space, because he needs to take over your page and make announcements, random announcements to the world, right? That's like, I don't know. We're talking about a strange woman. I don't know if you have an idea what a strange woman is. It takes over everything. It's energy. Takes over everything. I pray that you won't see a strange woman in Jesus' name. That's really what I can say about that. Okay? We're not talking about he fell into a Quakus by mistake and then came back home, was going to get right back to you. And then that happened 10 years ago. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about take over your life. Okay? I hope you don't see that your family won't engage a strange woman, because just blaming your husband will not be enough. You can feel free to blame him all you want. Okay? You will need a little bit more to get closure you're looking for. Blaming does not help with closure. Okay? Because he will say, okay, yeah, I'm wrong, and you still won't be happy. Yeah. Dolores says Judy doesn't have any respect for sisterhood. Sisterhood. Oh.
He shock you.
Sisterhood. That is funny, Dolores. Or familyhood. Yeah, that's why it can't last, because what she has is whatever attention she's getting right now. But you're right. Most of the time, fame will destroy a relationship. 90% of fame kills familyhood. YUL just got lost in fame. That was the void. That's a good one. That's a good angle to look at it from. Chidima says, I can always trust you, Chidima. I can always trust you. She says, thank you for explaining void. YUL is responsible for all of his actions, Aisha says. How can you be away from your wife 5 days and come 2 days and go right back, says Judy. Listen, no one can exonerate him. In reality, YUL will collect. It's just what it is. Synonyms of void is empty or vacant, yes. How does that apply to marriage? A vacuum. When there's that's a good question actually. So from a man's standpoint, let's talk about a man's accountability. A man, let me explain it so you can know that this is about a man's accountability more so than anything else. More so, like, let's not even bring women into it. Okay? A man needs to understand that if there's a vacuum, even he cannot fill that vacuum, right? He needs systems. He needs surrounding himself with the right type of energy to become fulfilled. Just because he's righteous or he's a good guy, he will never cheat on his wife is not enough. It is not. Okay? It is not enough. I pray that he will not meet a Judy. Because it's usually not a situation where it's like, oh, let me come and steal you from your husband. That's not how it plays out. That is not how it plays out. Okay? When people say fall on Bola or fall into the Kwekus, this is a real thing. I know in your heart of hearts you want to hold people accountable. No, don't say that's a real thing. It's never a mistake. I know how you feel, okay? But if it was that simple, the devil will not be succeeding breaking all these families apart. There's a lot of these people that are trying to do the right thing, being good guys, good girls. But there was a vacuum. There was a void. They left a wild gap. They left a wild gap open. Not necessarily intentionally, but they thought they were good enough. You need the right people around you. You need to be listening to the right type of content. If you're listening to the wrong type of content, you self will participate in bad behavior. Then you'll come back and tell us it's a mistake. And a bunch of people who have no room for grace will tell you you're full of it. You knew exactly what you were doing and you were being intentionally wicked. They will tell you that. There's more than enough of them that will tell you that too. Okay? Is it possible that some people are just wicked? Yes. For the most part, it is not. Because if that was the case, it would be a war zone out here. Okay? People will participate in bad behavior when it feels right. Why is it feeling right? There was a void. It's often inside of a blind spot. They didn't even know they were capable of participating in bad behavior too. Right? Think about your bad habits. Your bad habits, you know it's bad for you. You know that the outcome of it is wrong. However small it is for you, because I know you are perfect and you never really participate in bad behavior. Let's call it bad habits. Maybe you just bite your finger. Right? So something that you know is not really good for you, but you participate in it, right? Because it feels good. It's just for some weird reason, it gets you going through the moment, right? So multiply that by 10 million times over. It looks like a Judy and YUL to you. And you're like, I will never be that person. No, your biting fingers is still wrong. It's bad habits. However, I can understand that it's a bad habit. However, I can understand that if I don't put bitter leaf on your finger, you will continue to bite your fingers. I don't know. I think I'm over talking it out. Just go and think about it, okay? Just go and think about it, right? So inside of a marriage, it could be a husband who sees his girl, his wife, as the homie, lover, and friend, but is more skewed to the homies. He forgot that this is a woman, a lady at the end of the day, who wants to feel like you pamper them, who wants to feel romance, right? She likes the idea you're the homie, but she wants to feel like a lady sometimes. But it's like, okay, what are you looking for? Go and sit down somewhere there, right? And he forgot. And then he lost his wife. And they were like, well, how did he lose his wife? The wife cheated. And it's like, well, that's her fault. You're right, that's her fault, but you still lost your wife. There was a void. She never... that guy made her feel a little bit extra special. Does that mean it's your fault? No, it is not. Was it a void? Yes, it is. It was a void. Did you like that example better? Maybe. Hopefully. I don't know. ABJ is from what Allah is explaining as void. This could be an example. May and the children being in Lagos and YUL being in Enugu. Yes, that could be an effective void. And we talk about long distance. Long distance is some people's reality sometimes, but on a sustainable way, sustained over time, it's a bad idea. If you have, especially if you have the options of not doing that, don't do that. Okay, that's a void. A Judy will enter that void. Okay, that's not May's fault. Okay, is it still Yu's fault? Yes. Because it's a void doesn't mean it's not your fault. Okay, but maybe you thought, I'm strong enough, I can handle it. Yeah, right. I remember when I did discrete math as a computer science major back in the day. I bet you do, Chinye. I bet you do. Discrete logic. It's already collecting. Yes, we're not the one that will judge these people. I promise you. If you're engaged with judging either side of or any of the sides, you can relate. You need to check yourself. You check yourself. There's a way you can relate. You need to calm down. There's a reason why you can relate. You're gonna hurt yourself. I'm letting you know right now. If you're overly engaged with it needs to be somebody's fault. Calm down. I'm telling you, there's a reason why you can relate, and you're probably collecting already, and you're not paying attention. Okay. YUL is suffering and smiling. He don't collect already. What man do you know that wants his house falling apart in the eyes of the public? All right. He has moments during the day. You think he's not going to miss those caves? I know he's always away, but the fact that he doesn't have the option to go back home and just feel safe like he used to. Do you know what that means to a man? No, regardless of how much of a cheater he is, even if he's a toxic, even if it's what's the word? If he's a chronic cheater, he doesn't want that taken away from him. Okay? So trust me, you're not the one that will judge him. He's already collecting water, I promise you. Okay? If you could have humbled himself throughout this process, it should have been better for him. Facts. These are the facts. What happened was, I don't do Shalaye Tire today, but I don't see any super chats, so hopefully we'll get some ad revenues on this. Hopefully it's not slapped. I feel friendship is very important in marriage. Being able to talk openly and honestly really helps in its success. Yes, that will decrease the chances of voids. That's a fact. Okay, that would decrease the chances of voids. Not to see you, I'm coming right up to you. Gee, the devil made them do it. WhatsApp group. Oh Lord, let's see. When they will be enjoying, they won't know anything about the devil. You're your own worst enemy for the most part. Jesus is their father, Virgin Mary. It is pronounced Becky. It's pronounced Becky. Becky Bu Agbara. Okay. Judy was just one side piece, but one with a mission. With a mission. Yeah. Are you trying to say she didn't fall on the bola? This was intentional. Becky Bu Agbara is like saying English is not your mate. Express your tiwa. When you were trying to explain for it. Let me see. May didn't give him peace to continue cheating. But with Judy, he can continue his bad behavior. That's a good point. The side chick will give you the freedom because they're happy with every moment they get anyway, But this situation looks like it wasn't a real player, multiple side chick situation. She was a main side chick. I want you to pay attention to that. Think about that strong enough. A main side chick is actually much more powerful than a wife, oftentimes. That's a hell of a void. If somebody had the opportunity to have a whole side chick, that is a hell of a void. Yeah, that person was playing wife outside. A peace provider of some sort, right? It's just a matter of time her madness will be calm. Judy is a strange woman raised to power 1 million. Yeah, maybe one day we'll get to the strange woman thing. I don't know. I don't think it's necessary. I think a strange woman is a symptom. I just triggered somebody. Jesus Christ. Let me bring Natu. Natu Alpha. Not you did, yeah. Judy's a 3-4. How you doing now?
I'm good. I just got home.
Oh, you just got home. Well, a long time.
Yeah. Thank you. I know.
Yeah. This conversation is a conversation that keeps giving. So, what are your thoughts today?
I'm just gonna make a quick reference to what Brother Ben did today, and then match it up with what you're talking about. If you notice, the whole time he was talking, right, he never mentioned like any bad thing his wife was doing to him to trigger anything.
Right.
He was just talking about his own side, his own fault, the way he handles stuff, the way he mishandles stuff. The only thing that he mentioned that was off, and wasn't off like that, but he just said when his wife called a woman. But that was like him telling about how the whole thing checking. When the wife called the lady he was chatting with on Facebook.
Oh yeah. Oh, she called? She actually called the lady?
She called the lady. But when he didn't say it in a negative way. Yeah, he didn't say it in a negative way. He just said that was what checked him. Because it broke his heart how his wife felt. And then how it got to that level that he had to like check out of like, you know what, this is not even worth it.
Right.
That it's making his wife cry. So like we said earlier, taking accountability, honestly speaking, and then if you leave room for that void, then something will have to chip in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So something
must fill that vacuum. Yeah.
Something must fill that vacuum. Situationship, anything, mistake, accident, anything. You know, like I was chatting with you in the group when I was telling you, on the P chat,
right?
When I was telling you my part of my story,
right?
I said like you always say, we should lower our expectations. I had so much
manage
from my husband. Yes, manage our expectations.
Yeah.
I had so much high expectation when my husband was coming. So the moment he got here and he wasn't meeting that, it became like the house was like Hammer House of Horror. So it was just always like not a physical backbones, but like a mouth backbones kind of thing.
Right.
So until I started engaging Auntie B and you and listening to like a lot of stuff, and I started checking myself.
Right.
Did I even have to bother on his own side? And a lot of things started falling in place. And I was like, so this was what it was. So because I had that high expectation, I refused to come down. I was screaming at the top there. Right. I just stood at the top there and I was just screaming. And even if nobody was hearing me, I was just screaming.
Right.
And it was making no sense.
Yeah.
And I remember when you used to say all the time, you were like, fighting will always give you the answer. If you want to engage yourself in screaming competition, you will not get results.
Nope.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So from me and you's situation, going back to what we're talking about, like from everything that has been playing, like we said, there was a void, right? So how they managed the void was what brought Judy in.
Yes.
Do you understand? So as couples, like Brother Ben was saying, like we have to be intentional about some stuff, working stuff out. So sometimes it might be like, oh, you are the man, you're supposed to do that. You're the woman, you're supposed to do that. So everybody wants to have coconut head. But once we're able to come down and God is able to use one, regardless of who it is, then there will be a change.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Like my situation when it happened, like I was the one that when I prayed, I decided to let myself open to listen. Bro, there are times that I want to do like the middle finger so bad, like saying that word, and Holy Spirit will be like, say nothing. I'm like,
right,
get it out.
Right.
But because I've availed myself to be used, and that was what calmed the whole situation. So I prayed, I listened, I worked on myself, because I had my own issues too. I'm not going to even lie. Like I told you, I got married at 34. And my husband moved here 2 years later. I had problems with solution, honestly speaking. It was a big deal. I'm working on it. We're getting there. But like you could see the changing and you could see like there's like a lot of positive energy. If there's an issue one day, like it's out of the window, we trash it out.
Right.
But before it takes forever. before we crash it. Everybody will be doing face like, if you don't talk to me, I won't talk to you. You're supposed to beg first. I didn't do it. You're the one that offended me.
Right.
But no, it's not about that.
Yeah.
Like, let us breathe.
Let the poop
breathe.
Yeah.
So
do you see how that's actually a healthy, selfish move on your part?
Yes, 100%.
Can you explain that?
So because I want my marriage to work. My husband is not a bad person. You know what I'm saying? He's a very amazing person. But right now at that time, I mean, we had ourselves in a kind of situation where the work pressure, change of environment, and everything wasn't working the way we wanted it to be, and then it was telling on the relationship.
Right.
So now, because this is like the situation of like the farmer, now I'm like, okay, this seed that I have, instead of me taking it to go and cook, okay, let me make the issue of the widow in the Bible when she had the last food, and then who was it? Was it Elijah that told her to go and make something for him and bring? Instead of her saying that I don't have, this is going to be for only me and my child, we'll eat and then we'll pie, she made and gave the guy and it multiplied for her.
Right.
So in my situation at that time, I'm like, you know what? I still want to be with this guy. He's an amazing person.
Right.
Things are just
That's
happening
just a
right
choice
now.
you made.
Yes. Yes. So I said, you know what? And I deserve to be happy. He deserves to be happy too. So
Right.
what was I putting into this thing that was making it like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
how were you a catalyst to whatever it is that you don't like?
Oh boy, my big mouth. My big mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a big mouth.
Yeah.
I do. And I wasn't given too much grace for adjustment.
Grace.
Yes. So when I had that expectation, when it wasn't happening, I wasn't like, okay, you know what? Let me just give this guy a little time.
Somebody just came into the live stream like literally 1 minute ago, right?
Okay.
And that person is like, Grace. Like, why would May need to give you grace? They didn't hear everything we've said before, but that's how they are interpreting what you're saying right now.
Exactly. But let me answer the person.
Go.
So let me tell you what it means about giving somebody grace. If you want grace, you have to learn to give grace. That's just as plain as I can explain it. So if you want, we're not all perfect. There's going to be a situation where you might do something where the other person might not like, the other person might have expectation of you that you're not able to meet up at that time. So if you want to be like, he should have given me grace or she should have given me grace, you also have to learn to give grace.
Right.
If you have to give out love, you have to be love yourself.
Yeah.
You have to have love.
But does a YUL that person is now saying, but you outrightly cheated, committed adultery, dragged my whole family in the mud.
No. Talking about the grace, right? I'm not talking about now where it has gotten to. Yeah, I was talking about like the initial stage.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. I was talking about the initial stage before the whole thing came out, before the JUDY saga and the whatnot. Yeah. So that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. You know, I think when we say grace, just like forgiveness, just like any of those nice things that people try to use to manipulate people, the whole point is to love, right? Respect. It is like when we say give it to yourself, we're not just saying it just because it sounds sweet. You need it. Like if you're overreacting to issues, it's because you're over judging yourself. You're subconsciously judging yourself. You're disappointed in yourself, but you're obsessed. You have to point the finger at somebody who is the culprit, the obvious one, right? But you're mad at yourself. Essentially, that's what you're demonstrating. And when we say give yourself grace, it's like first of all, let's acknowledge that that's easier said than done, because listen, you're gonna react. You're going to at least say, may God judge both of you. Right? You're at least going to say that, right? And as far as rights, you have the right to be upset when you find out such a thing. But ultimately, as soon as you can, I don't know when that is. I don't know if it's 2 years from now. Hopefully you don't self-destruct before you get to it. You're going to need to give yourself grace. And what that looks like on the surface is like, it looks like you're giving that person grace. And somebody is going to tell you that, why are you giving him grace? But they won't get it, that this is actually for your own peace of mind. That you need to give that to yourself. You need to calm down. You need to, because this person has bad behavior and you've interpreted it as it's because of you that they have bad behavior. And I'm telling you, it is not because, in fact, what I'm telling you is that it's not because of you. Yes,
I like when you say that. I always love when you say that. And I use that to remind myself all the time.
Yeah, it's not
because before I used to beat myself up. I'd be like, oh, is it because I'm doing something? Is it because I did this? But when you've been saying it, it's stuck in my head, and I have to remind myself all the time. It's not because of you.
Yeah. So now when you refocus back on, it's because of that person. Because men, I have to tell this to men especially, they beat themselves up so badly, which is why they start competing with their woman, right? Like, calm down. Like, whenever you're trying to say this over shalaye, you're hurting yourself. Okay? Relax first of all. If she wants to move on, it's okay that she moves on. You have your whole life ahead of yourself. But if you don't calm down, you can't see what is going on. When the eyes calm down, you can see the nose. Right? Relax, calm down first. Because if you don't do that, you will engage pointing fingers. It is not about the other person, it's about you. First and foremost, self-preservation, self-love, I know I talked about the selfish thing, that's a different context. But self-love, self-preservation first. And what that looks like on the surface is that you disengage from pointing fingers. You disengage from obsession of pointing fingers, the blame game, right and wrong. You disengage. You're just like, you exhale, right?
Can I also chip that doing that will help you avoid depression?
Help you? Which pressure? Depression. We don't care about YUL. I'm talking for
No. I'm not talking about YUL. No. I said avoid pointing fingers. Yeah, focus on you. It helps you avoid depression.
Yes, you. Thank you, Jared. You see, it sounds like YUL. You helps you avoid depression because pointing fingers does not really help you long term. It helps you feel better in the moment because finally somebody blamed the culprit. Finally, somebody threw the culprit in jail, or point finger, or call them wrong for you. But you don't really get your long-term peace of mind from that. Aisha say, for 18 years, I think there's a lot of grace. You missed the context. I agree with you, but you missed the context. Context matter, right? Sure, there was lots of grace, right? But the whole point of that conversation that Natu is trying to bring up to speed is, right now in this moment, give yourself grace. That's the point of it. Give yourself grace. Yes, potentially that person will get some of that grace because now they're not being dragged. Just look at May, right? Just look at May. Does it not look like to some people that she's giving this dude grace? Somebody right now think that May should go on the internet and start dragging him right now, that she's giving too much grace. That's the context. That's the context. Right? Patience. She's giving herself the patience. It's much more important that she's giving herself that level of patience. How could she? If it was me, I know, but it's not you. But if it was you, you'd be dragging yourself in the mud. And then you would have lost all of that. All of that praise or whatever she's getting right now. More importantly, our own peace of mind. You would have missed out on that because you wanted to fight for yourself. Vengeance was yours. You're effectively competing with Judy. You can't win because you're not a Judy. A Judy is a Judy for a reason. Very, very important. This is easier said than done. This is not common sense. This is not common sense. It takes you self-reflecting. It takes you coming. In fact, you need to try the other method. Try to compete with Judy first before you can understand what I'm saying. Very likely, you might have to try it first. But let me do my own life too. Let me drive Judy, and let's see who is going to win that game. Maybe that's when you will understand what we're saying. Short term, you will satisfy yourself. 1 hour after you finish that live session, you will feel the worst type of depression that will come over you. Because you're not a Judy. You remember you were that woman who did grace for 18 years. You were in a marriage and your husband just committed the worst of your nightmares. So no, you're not a Judy by default. But then you might be overreacting, thinking you can play in the mud with Judy. It won't work. You will hurt yourself. And you'll be stealing from yourself effectively. And I'm aware that what I am asking you to do is like taking the higher road. People think taking the higher road means you're weak. Not necessarily. There are times there's a place where you don't want to be the doormat. That's why I really enjoy the fact that she made that one statement, at least, so we can see that she's a real human being. That when she said God will judge both of you, right? That's why I love when somebody corrected me last week that it's not punish, because punish is a different meaning entirely. Judge still has a reservation that maybe I don't see something, but God will be the judge of all of this, right? That made sense to me, that she's still a human being who had to say one thing, right? In fact, if she overreact today and do one live session, I won't judge her, because listen, she's tried, right? But we're letting you know, just to understand as a concept, that it's never what it looks like on the surface. We don't know, but there's some things that are very, very obvious. Some things are just very obvious right in front of you, right? And the devil is not going to come for you from the obvious. He's always going to look for a blind spot. So if you're a Christian, he will show up to you like a Christian. It's not going to show up like a devil. It's not going to show up in black clothes. If you watch too much Ayamatanga, it's not going to look like Ayamatanga. Because he knows you will get him. It's going to show up in the angle that you don't see it coming. That's why it's sneaky. That's why it's like the serpent, right? YUL did not try to protect his wife and children throughout this process. Yeah, I know. May is permitting herself with grace to heal. She's moving with class. Yeah. That's easier said than done. If you were a May, then you will understand that it's actually a lot more work for her to do what she's doing. It'll be easier for her to jump, but she will collect if she does it. But it's easier for her to jump in the mud and start swimming, because her feeling will justify. She will, in fact, many monitoring spirits online will justify it and say she has the right, and that doesn't change that she has the right. But long term, it won't help. It won't help. I don't think May will ever drag YUL. She's not that person. If she tried it, she will not like herself, which is worse than what she's probably going through already right now. Yeah, she gave so much grace since April 2022. Yeah, that's more of the part we're talking about. And she's an example of what is being suggested. May is an example of what Natu were just suggesting. I know you like that. It sounded better to you than saying that YUL did not get grace. Right, that wasn't the conversation. The conversation wasn't that YUL did not get grace. The conversation was that May is an example of what grace looks like. Unmerited favor. It looks like it on the surface, but she's the one that's going to benefit the most from it. Because nothing is going to save YUL. I promise you. Nothing is going to save him. Okay? And I just hope that he's safe and he comes back safe as a wholesome man, right? And he redeems his image so that his children, his ex-wife, because that's the situation now, will benefit from that. If he comes back a wholesome man, they will benefit from that. I don't think they need to be married again. that would be a complete miracle. I don't think it's necessary. They've had 18 years.
It's going to be a serious miracle.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessary too. Like, I don't put marriage on a pedestal like that anyway. I think it's not necessary, but I think Judy is not his wife. The foundation is bad.
Don't say that. That's Odogu's wife. That's Odogu's wife.
Oh, now today. Sorry, today. Yes, today. For now, at least.
That's Odogu's wife. She will come for you 1 million times.
Yeah. Tego says, I think we should find out why Judy's first marriage failed and why she left her first husband.
We are not interested. From when she's acting, you know it. Stop it now.
Is this a fair request? I don't care. You can go find out if you want. I could care less.
Are you serious?
I don't care. I don't care. If you find it and we find interesting lessons in it, I'll cover it. You know that.
There's nothing online. It's the same thing that she's doing now that drove her.
If there's lesson, the algorithms love the name of Judy right now on this platform. I will extract those lessons for Una. Because it looks like Judy's name, they drag Una out of the woods. So it is what it is until it falls off. Until the number tells me otherwise. But if there's no lessons, I'm not just following numbers though. If there's no lessons, but I don't care. I personally don't care. What I care about is you guys. All of Una, we're here right now. Your relationship, you have more power than you realize.
I'm telling you, you can say that in capital letters.
Yeah, you don't think you have power. That's why you're obsessed with pointing fingers. Pointing fingers at people that are obviously already wrong. You're not going to make them more wrong than they're already wrong. Okay? They are wrong, granted.
It wouldn't make it worse. It will even make it worse.
It only makes it worse because human beings, they don't care.
Don't care. Still don't.
They don't care about anything
outside
of their feelings. I was literally
saying that when you played it.
They don't care about anything outside of their feelings, even when they are wrong. Have you ever talked to somebody and you said they are wrong and said, well, are you sure? Or they will say things like, well, it is your fault too. Women especially will say, well, you made me do it. This is what women do. I'm generalizing. I'm generalizing.
No, you're not lying, but that was my excuse too.
He made me do it. So now, when my wife suggests anything like that, I was like, okay, I made you do it, okay, all right, because I know, it's just a thing, But I also know that there's some level of truth to it, especially if you have a healthy relationship. We sow the seeds, and you guys multiply it. Overall, ultimately, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the fact that I have that level of control about my relationship. Like I set the tone. See, it's mindset. It's about how you see things. Okay? It's about how you see issues in life. It's your outlook on life. It's not necessarily about the content. It's not about what I'm saying right now, because you will still interpret what I'm saying the way you want to interpret it. It's about something in you is making you interpret it that way. That's the part I want you to continue to pay attention to. But yeah, let me have your last word, Jare, because we gotta go rest it for today.
Is there ever last word on this show? Because we are coming back again.
We're coming back. We're coming back. Hit that like right now. Oh, listen, look at them. We're missing about 40 likes. Why don't they do like this now? Can you turn up on the likes for me? If you got any value from this?
That's not nice. Man.
We're missing 40 likes. Why now? Guys, we will not do
like
that.
A beg for MOP.
Why now? 19. I see 19 likes, and there are 16 people watching me.
God.
Oh, actually, on Facebook, looks like we have more people on Facebook. We have 47 people on YouTube. Please, if you're on Facebook, please share. We're trying to grow on Facebook. Thank you. Shout out to, I think I saw somebody that was on Facebook earlier. Mary is on Facebook. Mary, I beg, share. Thank you. May would not do that. She chose the option of millions of people fighting for her. Why would she do that? Smart girl. Thank you, Iggy Flores. You get it. What does that look like in the scriptures? Vengeance is mine. You thought that was just spiritual talk, didn't you? You can see it in real time now. It's easier said than done but it doesn't make it any less of the best solution, right? The forces of nature are much more powerful than what you can do for yourself. That's what seduction is. You allow the forces of nature to help you. You kind of understand the influence. You play your own part and you just hands off. And then they're like, oh, he's so attractive. No. They don't understand what you understand. They don't understand it. Right? As opposed to, no, gidigba, let me do it myself. Yeah, it doesn't work. Just look at some of the greatest in the history of mankind. They understand this concept. Okay? Hands off. They know where their leverage is. They use the key when it's appropriate. They don't go into the engine and try to do wire and try to start the engine. They find the key, leverage, right? And they get the whole engine shaking like that. Everybody start the para, going mad, going enter skater, kitty keta kata, right? And they're like, oh, she didn't say anything. She didn't say anything. They don't get it. She's doing a whole lot of, I want to say nothing, but not really. It's not nothing. Silence is not nothing. Silence is volume. Silence means anxiety on the part of your enemy. They don't know what's going on with you. They're afraid. They're scared.
That is what is happening to Judy and you right now, because they don't know her next move, because she's not saying anything. So they need to come and be doing a live show all the time to validate themselves, because she ain't saying nothing.
It's not
so
predictable.
What's the next move?
You're not
they
predictable.
Can't predict her.
Once you are predictable, they know you are going to open your mouth and run it again. Motibe. What if you surprise him today? He did it wrong, but you just switch it on them. Now he's turned on. He's turned on to do what? I don't want him. Well, he's turned on to take care of you, to do everything you've ever wanted. You do that long enough over time, there's literally, it's impossible for there to be void. If you understand the way the human mind works, there can't be a void. There can't be a void. Okay? If you understand how that works. But if you think it's your mouth, you can talk too much and that can create more void. How about that? Now, is it always talking too much? No, it depends on your story. It depends on what you've always done. The key thing is that don't be so predictable. That's really a key thing there, right? We know how you're going to react already. Relax. Why don't you switch it on them a little bit? Surprise them. That showcases that you have self-control now, because your natural self really wants to do what you've always done. Right?
Listen.
Go and study. Go and study all the greatest, man and woman, the queens and the kings. These are the concepts they understand. They don't care about right and wrong. Not that they don't care, but they understand that there's very little power in right and wrong. Why? Because everybody else knows what right and wrong is. You're not telling anybody anything new. There's nothing new. You're predictable. We know what is right and wrong already. You know? Beyond that, May is also considering her children. She's a true mother. She's the only one protecting the children involved. All part of nature. All part of nature. If you just tap into that, that's part of nature, obvious nature, being a mother. You tap into that, your true essence comes out. What do we know today? A lot of people are saying, no. Before we say one, they said two. Not everybody's supposed to be a mother. I was like, who said that? I didn't say everybody's supposed to be a mother. Jesus Christ. God help me. I never said everybody's supposed to be a mother. What I said, no, let me go back. Let me leave it alone. We don't talk to those people here anyway. You know, you have the chance to be anything you want to be. Nobody will ever stop you from that. Okay. You na ewu can bear. What does that mean? You know what that means? Solemn chorea, breast cancer. You know what that means? Ewu can bear. What is that? You don't know. Ewu sounds like something terrible. I don't know, can be a part. But anyway, no need to study Judy. Nothing to see there. She's obvious. What are you studying? That's when you were saying, she's acting like Nebo. This one acting. They're trying to paint that picture that they're acting. But this is anxiety in real time that you're watching. Judy left her first husband because someone with more money came along and she wanted to socially climb, and if she finds someone with more money, then she would move on. Patricia, come and tell us the rest of the story. I wasn't privy to that part of the story. The way Judy was screaming the other day, if I do the same thing, child, I'll be sick for a week. Aisha, because you're not Judy. That's crazy. Now to give me your last word. Give me your last word. Thank you, Iggy Flores. Thank you. This was a good show. We're rounding up. Natu, you're done?
No, yes.
All right. I'll see you next tomorrow. Next tomorrow.
Say what?
I'll see you on next tomorrow, sir. I'll see you inside the chat.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't give my last word yet.
Oh, yeah, give me your last word.
Shoot. You see, I lost my train of thought now, MOP, because I was listening to you.
Okay, write it down. Come and give me next tomorrow.
All right, no problem.
All right. Let's see. The silence of Queen may have caused a lot of confused in Nana, you're with me. Nana is with me. She runs up and down the social media, posted all sorts of things on YUL page just to pepper May, but May even have time for her. You get it. Ewu is goat in Igbo. I knew it was something like that, but goat is not terrible. I love goat meat. Ewu Gambia. And our friends too are not talking. Yeah. Because birds of the same flock, or birds of the same feather, right? They flock together. Your circle, your network has much more power in the direction of your life than your righteousness. Okay? The kind of content you consume has much more power than your righteousness. Don't set yourself up for failure. You're a human like the rest of us. If you're a man, you surround yourself with men that are moving mad in these streets and they're always at the clubs and stuff like you, participate in bad behavior. It's just the way it works. You're deceiving yourself. If you're a woman and everybody around you tend to complain about their husband, it's only a matter of time. This is energy. No respecter of anyone. Okay? But let me give the actual answer. Thank you, Chidima. Let me give the actual answer to this question that Chidima asked earlier. This whole thing about true love. True love, there's no such thing as true love unless it's passed through the test of time. Pressure of life will happen. Did you pass it? Did you all pass it? You all, right? Did you come through to the other side? That's true love. So you just got married, you don't know what you're doing. You just said I do, you have no idea what you're doing. It's okay. The rest of us were like that. The point there is now you need to start paying attention. Okay, you need to remain a student for the rest of your life. Okay. Conventional relationships, social norms, societal expectations. Just think social intelligence. Okay. You need to be aware of certain societal norms before you break the rules. If you're going to break the rules, you need to know what kind of rules you're breaking so that you don't drown yourself. There's no rules around breaking the rule. You can break it if you want. Just know what you're doing. Okay? Just be aware that society moves in a certain type of way as human beings, and you're expected. And if you don't move that way, you will judge yourself the most. Even me, I don't have to judge you. You judge yourself. If you look around and you look like, oh, I'm behind, you will judge yourself. So let's not move mad and just say, hey, I just get to do me. No, that's not. I just want to be happy. It's a bad idea. You should be happy, but that should be a function of long-term self-reflection. Think about everything, human beings around you, your network, your children, your family. Like, don't be one of those people. Majority of people are doing that today. Individualism, right? Long term, there's no joy in that. Okay, you need joy. I want you to pay more attention to joy rather than short-term happiness. I think happiness makes up joy over time, but if it's just isolated happiness, you will end up hurting yourself. Okay. So personal happiness without boundaries, that's an oxymoron. I don't know what that is. So you were right, Chidima. And then let me see. You said earlier. Let me see if I still have that quote here. Let's see. I think it's up here somewhere. Okay, your opinion. She said, but in my opinion, I don't think one can experience true love if they prioritize their own happiness. I agree 100%. The key word being priority, right? Like the idea. So priority, I can even still allow it, but like an isolated, just your own happiness. Yeah, that's an oxymoron. Okay. But if they prioritize true love, which means you're patient, you understand it's a function of time, right? If they prioritize true love, right, then, you know, then the ultimate happiness, whatever your joy, you know, semantics at this point, but you get the gist, okay? I don't want you to worry about the semantics, but fulfillment. Like, over the last 3 months, I feel fulfilled. Over the last 5 years, I feel fulfilled. That's what we're all looking for, you know? So true love, in my opinion, I do think that the source of true love is always a connection to a higher self. That means humility, right? If it's coming from a place of pride, yeah, it's a bad idea. And it's worse when you're not aware that it's pride. You're not supposed to admit that I'm prideful. I don't expect you to admit that. I expect you to see it as it's just my right. Yeah, I expect you to see it as that. But let's all be guided. That's all I'm saying. Let's just all calm down. Just keep an open mind. Maybe, just maybe, there's something else I can learn. Just maybe. On your way out, okay, I don't know. I guess it's my numbers. I don't know why I didn't get more on the likes, but thank you for being here. I appreciate you regardless for being here. Thank you, Chidima. Nama says, YUL and Judy suffering, smiling. The body language of Judy tells it all. Thank you, Jerry. That's what I've been saying. Thank you. Great lessons, Iggy Flores. Iggy Flores, please come back. Okay? If you came here for the first time today, please keep coming back. We will have another. I have a meeting tomorrow that I couldn't cancel, so I'll probably drop a nice new video in the morning tomorrow. So look out for that. I'll be back here on Thursday evening, I think. Yes, I think I'll be back here on Thursday evening, 5 p.m. Okay, so shout out to you, everybody, for being here today. I appreciate you. All right, hopefully you've been enlightened and educated. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Your love that I've been missing. I miss all your hugs, your touching and kissing. Make love on the floor, the couch in the kitchen. One loving up, we done enough.